What? What the dickens? Oh, well, rather you didn't, actually. Oh well, to complete that game, roll the new titles! Why don't you recognise my face? I'm a face. Oh, it's the glasses. You're focused now. I've taken my glasses off. You that's discrimination. Tap in the morning. How's your cutting, sir? And welcome to BookTube with Simon and Amy. Yes, BookTube with Simon and Amy. We are delighted to have you here. We've made some changes to the channel. I am delighted to say that Amy now gets equal billing because she's been around a lot more, and quite frankly, she's much more popular than me. So the plan going forward is that I will continue to do my book reviews with you one-to-one. Amy is going to do wrap-ups at the end of the month of what she's been reading throughout the month, and we will come together to do our Book 101 series, and also we're going to be coming together to do tags now and again. So if you don't like me, first of all, I don't know why you've subscribed, and second of all, don't worry, I'm not going to be in every video anymore. Woo! Now, to celebrate Amy's first video as official co-star, she's decided to take the day off, so it's just me. And today I'm going to be talking to you about Artemis Fowl and The Last Guardian by Eoin Colfer. But just before I go on to that, I should let you know that we did film our 2021 reading plans. We filmed it on Hogmanay. I'm sure it was Hogmanay, and maybe or the day before. No, definitely Hogmanay. Anyway, I will share that while it's still relevant. Before Easter, I'll get that up. And in terms of Book 101, we are currently reading The Secret Garden and Les Miserables. Yes. So stay tuned for lots of that kind of stuff. But today we're going to be talking, like I say, about Artemis Fowl. Now, it's okay if you don't know what I mean when I say Artemis Fowl. Lots of people don't. If you are one of those people who hasn't read Eoin Colfer's Artemis Fowl series, then you fall into the category of what I like to call an adult, which is fine. So very quickly, by way of setting the scene, the first Artemis Fowl book introduces us to Artemis Fowl, as you probably guessed. He's a child genius and he lives in Ireland, and he has discovered that fairies exist. So he kidnaps a fairy and plans to hold her to ransom in exchange for a book, I think, or something like that. And what he doesn't really factor into the equation is the LEP, Leprechaun Lower Elements Police, the spy unit of the fairy world. And so we have fairy spies versus evil child genius, and it was fantastic. You may be aware that this was converted into a film last year, which the critics were not kind to, and maybe we'll talk about that at some point. But I am just strictly speaking about the film series. Now, if you're wondering why I'm reading what are essentially children's books, I will justify this weekly. I read Artemis Fowl for the very first time when I was in school, 2001, and we were all invited to go to the library at lunchtime once a week, and the librarian played the audiobook for us. So we listened to the book. We didn't read it, we listened to it. And I liked it, and it was good, and the narration was good, and there was music, and it was wonderful. And then to get it finished, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. To get it finished before Christmas, we were given special permission to get out of class to go and listen to the end of it. Woo woo! Thereafter, I pretty much forgot about it. And then in 2013, I picked up the first book and reread it over Christmas 2013. And thereafter, I have read the next book in the series each Christmas up to Christmas 2020, whereupon I read the last book. So I'd only read the first one, and now, 19 years later, I finished the series, and this year will be 20 years since I first picked up an Artemis Fowl book, and I'm discussing with you my thoughts on the finale. The end of not just a series, but the end of a 20-year dalliance with fairy spies and little boys. And if you're thinking, well, I don't know what happened in the first 7 books, so that sounds really boring, don't worry, I've got you covered.
Don't tell me, Ma, when I go home, a fairy locked in my basement lair. I lock her up, blackmail her boss, well that's alright, cause I'm 13. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is from a fairy city. She's going to be my friend and me, the first female captain in history. Who can make the fairies need Artemis, the boy genius, Opal K? And who can be the recurring big bad, that evil pixie, Opal K? Kidnap, blackmail, put her life in danger, Opal K. It's got something to do with the Arctic, but I can only remember Opal K. Uh-oh. Hey, hey, uh-oh, uh-oh. I said, hey boys, sending a eat, looking at my eyes, comes a furry, the pirate dude, he's gonna see cubes, grab our wings, get head into the sky. He wants to know just what to do, how does he cool the cube? The crew on back with Artemis to find, all is only helping to wipe this fight. Trying to break in, hey, 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 so pure and telegram, yeah. Who stands much on today? Hey, hey, hey. He'll toot, he'll drum, he'll toot, he'll drum and blow you away. Dry your eyes, it's fair to surmise. He's just tough, it's his job. Celebrate holy parts with full heart. She don't need or taste smart. She wipes his mind of fairies. Celebrate. Well, there's a twist that made my soul so weary. An actual death where the character just stays dead. I was still awake. the silence, praying for a reprieve for dear old Captain Root. He shouted loud until his face turned purple. He screamed like mad until veins popped out his head. But now he's dead. All that fills in the silence is disappointment. You didn't kill a mouse instead. It's been 7 books if you include the next one. The 7th book is one away. He needs a silky lemur to save his mom, because she's got spell trophy. But he killed the last one before he reformed. This is a hefty price to pay. So he goes back in time to defeat himself. So nothing can be sure. Nothing compares to himself. He's been a church Atlantis complex has turned Artemis nice. Unlucky because now a villain's escape, and we need Artemis' mind to survive. We need him back being bad. Under the church, the good behavior that's riddled his mind, while Ruth's brother goes in search of his wife. The child genius isn't a child anymore, oh dear, and his mind is now mush. So we met the fairy from an Irish land, and Artemis has grown from boy to man. 8 books in now, the series that are close, with all our friends to fit their final foes. Oh, we follow all the stories by Eoin Colfer. After the last garden, the journey's over. We don't know what they mean, the symbols on the page. I think they can be decoded, but we're past it at the stage. Known art for the brains, holy for the heart. We've had root and control, and fully in the left. Number 1 is for the mouse, much for the bands and towels. Popular soil, and Juliet is there. She's been a fairy from an Irish land, and Artemis has grown from boy to man. The kiss was gonna work, so we'll pretend it never happened. Artemis joined the fairy world. Oh, we'll hold become a go-away girl, back in the manor as a go-away girl.
That, to be fair, is the highlight of the video, so if you're in a rush, feel free to go and do something else now. But otherwise, let's crack on. So the last book in the series, really we're in a place now with the series where we need it to finish, and I say that for a few reasons. The problem with an anti-hero is that throughout the series his evilness becomes reduced, and he becomes less anti-hero and more just hero. And also the aspect of the spy police, I feel, was less pronounced as time went on. You know, at first it was this genre juxtaposition of heavy spy chat by fairies, and as time went on it just became Artemis and Holly the spy fairy captain, and Artemis against the world, beating the next big bad. So with him being a bit less child genius and her being a less spy, it just became a kind of episodic general fantasy that lost some of its uniqueness. Some instalments better than others, but broadly I think the first one was never really, with maybe one exception, it wasn't really matched. Certainly the second half of the series didn't really have the same magic, if you will. So I was ready for it to end, but I wanted it to end well. And for me, the last part of a YA series, where they're saying this is the end, needs to have quite an end. So it's not like the Hunger Games, where it's a story told in 3 parts and it gets to the end and that's the end of it, or Lord of the Rings, where they're going to Mordor to destroy the ring. Here we've got 7 pretty much standalone books in chronological order, and as we get to the 8th book, there needs to be a way for you to know this is the end of the series. So we need some sort of payoff and big finale that is more dramatic than the previous 7. We need some sort of closure for the characters, and realistically we probably need one of the 2 leads to die. That's what you expect for it to close up properly. And I'm pleased to say that it pulled it off. So let's start with the premise. The premise here is we've got one of the big bads who's appeared a couple of times in the series. She's back for the last one. That for me was a big win. You know, nothing worse than a boring villain. So having the recurring big bad back to do the big bad stuff was great, and the stakes were far higher than they've ever been. You know, what was occurring was anything that had ever had any form of entanglement with the big bad's previous tech company was rendered useless, which meant the majority of human technology, the majority of fairy technology, and the fairies' ability to shield themselves from humans all went kaput. The world was literally about to end. Humanity was about to be wiped out. It was really, really, really dramatic, and it had a big cinematic feel to it. So the stakes were high. The personal drama, not as pronounced as it had been in other series. The action takes place in one night, and it doesn't feel as complex as maybe some of the other books had been in terms of plot, but it moves at a fast pace. All of the favourite characters are in it. Mulch, although I said in the little musical thing that he was quite annoying, I had grown to like him quite a lot by the end. And just overall I felt like it really gave everybody their moment to shine. Colfer, I think, also knew that we expected a death and played on that a few times. There were genuinely a few moments where I thought this could be the end for that particular character, and because it was the last book, it really could have been the end, and I felt that made it all a lot more exciting. The conclusion I thought was well done. I thought there was a good end to the arc, and there was good emotional closure. I think overall it was done really quite well. There were some weird bits though. So for example, Butler is the name of Artemis Fowl's bodyguard, fiercely loyal, and in this book for the first time he shows a little bit of being frustrated by Artemis and kind of getting a bit fed up of some of the stuff that was happening. Snaps at him for the first time ever, and that's not really explored any further, doesn't go anywhere. And Colfer was quite guilty of that in the last few books. He'd just randomly start a thread out of nowhere. You know, he would bang on about a bit of backstory to do with Holly once that didn't go anywhere at all, didn't come from anywhere. And here, like, it was just really weird. It was like fake depth he was trying to put in there, and there's nowhere for that to be resolved now. There's nowhere for it to go. It's just a random thread dangling, like the sort of thing that just dangles and you breathe up your nose and it makes it tickle and it makes you sneeze. Excuse me. You know it's going downhill when the best I've got to offer is just repeating footage of me sneezing. A 5-word summary would be Armageddon with an evil fairy. My favourite character of the whole series is still Commander Root, Holly's boss in the first couple of books, who's so bad-tempered, goes totally mad, purple, vein-throbbing, nuts. In his absence in this book, I would say Foley, the tech centaur, is really cheeky, really funny, and I like him a lot. And I have to say Mulch Diggums, who I didn't take to in the beginning, has become one of my favourite characters because he is out for himself and, you know, pretty outrageous, skates close to the law, and I just find him really entertaining compared to a lot of the other more virtuous characters. So let's go to the rating. A solid 4-star effort. I thought it was a really good end to the series. I think the first book will always be my favourite because it's a bit nostalgic and I think it was the purest form of the concept. But I think this was a good conclusion to the series. It was a good series to read. It's time to now move on to the future and select my next Christmas series. If you have read it, please let me know your thoughts. If you haven't read it but plan to, then comment below. Keep safe, stay well, bon voyage.